Greetings from Travel LISTTIN. Life is short, the time is now. I want to talk to you today about one of our frequently asked questions, which is where did you come up with the idea for Travel LISTTIN? Bit of a long story, so come with me on the journey. When I was little, my family had a magazine subscription to National Geographic, and they have these amazing, beautiful photography, colored photos, and they have wonderful articles that just explore the whole world and bring things right to you so that you can see all of the marvelous beauty that's out there. And that's where I found images of Machu Picchu at the tender age of maybe 8 or 9. And I knew I was going to get there someday. And of course, eventually I did. But that's, I think, where the travel bug started, was those National Geographic magazines. A few years later, our folks took us on a cross-country road trip. So we started out here on the East Coast, upstate New York, and traveled all the way over to the West Coast and back. It was amazing. You don't really understand how large the United States is until you get in a car and try to travel across it. Also, it's a really diverse area, so just so much to see that's different from your own hometown. So just get a couple states away and things really change it up. So I'd recommend that to folks who haven't done it yet. In fact, just a couple of years ago, I did it with my son. Now, we used a car and a tent, whereas when I traveled with my family, we had an Econoline van and a pop-up trailer. It was still pretty wonderful. Now, my son and I didn't make it all the way out to the West Coast in one shot. We did get to about Utah and then had to turn around and come back because of some monsoon stuff. We got rained out of a bunch of our campsites, but it was still excellent, a wonderful trip, and I do recommend. When I was in college, I did my first international travel. I saw a flyer for a spring break trip to England, Ireland, and Wales for the low, low price. I think it was around $1,000 or maybe $1,600. And I had just that much money in my bank account from actually a car accident. And so I used that to travel. That was my first time ever getting on a plane, my first time ever having a passport. And I love the idea of a group tour for an original traveler who's never done it before, because they kind of take care of everything for you. You just pay the money up front. They figure out where you're staying. They pay your entrance to all of the activities. They coordinate your transportation. Pretty much they do most of your meals. And it's a neat way to feel safe and explore the world. The difficulty with a group travel is that sometimes you got to go along to things that you're not that interested in, or you've already paid to get into this particular museum. So even if you're not interested in it, you got to go and do it. But while I was there abroad for the first time, getting the travel bug, I spent a few days there in Ireland, and it was wonderful. I loved those people. It felt like home. And I said, I'm gonna live here someday. So I managed to, later on in my college career, do a study abroad through the SUNY program and actually attended National University of Ireland at Galway. When I left there, I went down to North Carolina, and that's where I was going to grad school, and I was working at the airlines and also teaching. And I would meet people who would say, I've always wanted to go to or try, and I would say, let's do it. When you work for the airlines, the perks of many airlines is actually free travel, or at least greatly reduced travel, not only for yourself, but also for your designated partner or significant other, also your parents and your children. In addition to all of that, they give you these buddy passes where you can buy greatly reduced flights, flying standby with you or by themselves, for your friends and family. And the number that you get varies depending on the airline. But through that, I was able to see so much of the world on the cheap. You know, I wasn't really breaking the bank. I would stay in hostels. And I managed to get other people out and about too. The stakes were relatively low because I had that free travel privilege. So if we ever got stranded somewhere, we could just reroute through another. And I really learned the ins and outs of working the airlines through that. And that brings us to the now. My sister is actually a counselor who works with folks who are aging and in the end of life, and she provides some care and some therapy for them. And she said that so many times in conversations it would come up, people would look back on their life with things they remembered, and most of those being travel or experiences. And then they would also talk about the things they hadn't done yet, their bucket list items that they just hadn't gotten around to, that got put on the back burner and sort of forgotten over time. And these aren't huge things. It's not like many people don't, think I'm going to climb Mount Everest or I'm going to take a camel trek across the Sahara Desert. These are instead, experiences like swimming with dolphins, playing the slots at a casino, checking out a fashion show in Milan that could be done even if you are mobility impaired or even if you are aging or requiring a medicine regime. but you would need some coordination and you'd need some companionship. And the idea suddenly came to me like, not only could we serve this population, we could serve anybody who wants to travel but just has something that's holding them back. Maybe they're not sure how the travel industry works, or they haven't applied for a passport before, or maybe they just don't want to go at it alone. And so from that, the ball just started rolling, coordinated and put it together, and now we have Travel LISTTIN. So here's my contact information. Make sure you check out our website, travellistin.com. Remember, LISTTIN stands for Life is Short, the Time is Now. Consultations are free, so reach out. You can use our jot form on our website or any of the contact information you see in front of you there. Be happy to try and make your travel dreams come true. Thanks for listening.